Hey everyone, this is Roger from Almost in Full Color, and since it's October, I was going to review an eerie, darker game, and this one's called Rusty Lake Hotel. It's their first premium game by Rusty Lake for the PC and phone, and it costs $2 on each of the platforms. This genre is basically a puzzle game with a little twist to it. Before we get too far into this, I do want to alert there is a spoiler alert of I'm going to go over like one of the puzzles and the first level a little bit. So nothing too big, but if you don't want anything to know about the game, sorry in advance. So the main story here is in 1893, there was 5 guests that came to Rusty Lake to this mansion. You can see Mr. Owl here waiting at the front door. And he's welcoming the guests while they're arriving by the Crow, which is the front desk guy. We have Mr. Rabbit, Mr. Boar, Miss Pheasant, Miss Pigeon, and Mr. Deer. Very creative names in this game. And basically we have to serve 5 dinners, and each one is worth dying for. So they're marketing that they serve the best meals here. So they're trying to make some memories here. You start in the lobby. There's not really much to do here, so there's going to be a quick glance here. Most of your interactions will be with, I guess, Mr. Frog. He never gets his... Oh, Mr. Toad, sorry. And this is where you get your recipes at. And when the recipes drop down, you can see we need deer meat. Let's put 2 and 2 together here, and you can get the gist of the game. Everything's going to kind of happen at night. So you get some little things that'll happen in the lobby. As you saw, we had deer meat and 2 optional items to get. So you have to kind of figure out how to get these optionals. Obviously, they're optional, so they're a little tricky. One is very easy, but they get a little harder as time goes on. So after you do some stuff in the lobby, each night you kind of have to do something a little different. You have to go in the elevator to get up to the rooms. We have to follow the bellman here. I'm not really sure what he is, kind of bat-looking creature, but we have 2 floors. First floor we have 3 rooms with 3 guests. Second floor is 3 rooms with 2 guests and a locked door, which you figure out later into the game. So you have to figure out which room to go in to make the meal. Obviously we had to get deer meat, so we went to Mr. Deer's room. Here's where the game happens. So this is kind of like an escape room now. You can't leave for the night until you get your meat for the meal. And you have to figure out what's going on. So it's kind of a point-and-click game if you remember in the early 90s. The puzzles here are interesting. One note that I'm going to point out in this video, these stamps are very important. Do not miss these. You get something cool at the end if you remember them. And if you play this game, you'll figure out where these stamps come in. And each room has one. Just remember that I won't tell you what they're for, but the game doesn't make it very clear. Luckily, I caught on early enough during the game to figure this out. So going through here, you can see we have puzzles in this room. And here we have a safe here. So the difficulty of the puzzles range from very easy to relatively hard. None of them were insanely difficult, but they did make you think. Here you can see I'm kind of looking at that, trying to figure out where I saw them symbols before. And then I remembered. I'm going to speed through this puzzle a little bit. This is the one I'm going to show you how this one was done. I see there was a little figuring out to do, so this wasn't relatively hard, but it was kind of refreshing. A lot of the puzzles were unique, which I found pretty good. I was a big fan of these 90s puzzles games, so this brought a lot of memories back to me. Here we can see we're figuring out how much the non-number things weigh. As you can see, we found out the squiggly was 5. Went back here, put in the weights we figured out. So you might have to have a pen or paper to write some stuff down while you play this game. And as we do that, we unlock the next thing and so on. Once you get to a point where you can make Mr. Deer his drink, you notice we added poison to do that. Each character has something they want, like Mr. Boar always talks about food, Miss Pigeon always wants her picture taken, so on and so forth. So here we gave him the drink, and now once we click and let him drink a couple sips, you're going to see him accept the poison pretty good. And then, as you can tell, at that point, we have our deer meat. So this game is kind of a little dark, but it was a nice, refreshing puzzle game that I found on the phone. So then the next day, once the night's over, we have our materials. We can cook. I didn't find the rosemary in this one. And then we cook our food, and then our remaining guests will judge it with our dinner. So here we go. We got our 4. They're going to enjoy this deer meat. No one questions what happened to Mr. Deer, which is kind of odd to me. But as you can tell, the more options you get in your meal, the more people will like your food. So I had almost perfect because I missed that one. And it repeats. After they eat, we're back at night, and we go to night 2. So you get that. And this game has some kind of creepy scenes. Here's one from later on in the game. So they try to be dark, and it was kind of freaky with some of the stuff there. Overall, I give this game an excellent review. It is $2 and 2 hours, so it's $1 an hour. I know it's a cell phone game, so some people are always questionable. They do make free ones called Cube Escape. I recommend trying them if you don't want to spend that. If these definitely go on sale, I would highly recommend them. If you don't mind spending $2, I would recommend this. It's worth it. So this is Roger signing out.